It's finally time. We're actually getting to go to heaven. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 6 of Hazbin Hotel. I am so upset that I have to go through this so quickly. Because I absolutely adore this series. It's becoming one of my favorites for sure. And the fact that I have to rush through this because of avoiding spoilers just pisses me off, because it's diluting the quality of the series for me. Well, how I interpret it as I watch. Because I'm not having as much of a chance to, sit on these episodes and, actually take the content in. That's one of the biggest reasons that I enjoy a series, because I get to sit on these episodes, I get to take the content in, I get to marinate on it for a week, and that allows me to ingest it on a much better scale. I'm able to become more attached to the characters, the story, everything that way. It's how I genuinely believe media should be viewed. And it's not even just a personal thing. It's people have actually done studies on this, weirdly enough. And it's definitely the better way to watch. Because when you rush through something, when you binge a series, you don't have time to grasp everything going on. You're rushing through, so it's everything kind of flies by and you don't connect with anything as easily and as strongly. And I'm not saying that you can't really love a series that you binge through like that. No, you definitely can. And obviously it's different for each person. But just on a general level, you need that time to, to gather your thoughts. So, rushing through it, the fact that I'm already on episode 6, when honestly I should be only on episode 4, sucks. Because I feel like if I were going at a normal, healthy pace for this, I would be enjoying it even more than I already am. And again, I'm very much enjoying it. I am loving the shit out of this series. But I feel like I'm holding back on how good it could be. And that's really disappointing. So, either way, I do want to say that I'm just irritated at how blatant and aggressive these spoilers have been. The fact that I've been having to work so hard to avoid them, it's gotten to the point where it's been actively currently worse than One Piece spoilers. And that's saying something. Because One Piece fans don't give a shit about spoiling people. In fact, they will gladly and happily spoil you. And so the fact that, on a day-to-day basis, the Hazbin Hotel spoilers have been, much worse in terms of having to avoid is insane. And so, yeah, now we have to deal with that shit. But because of that, I have to avoid spoilers in every way I can, which unfortunately has meant getting to these episodes quicker. And it's just been hurting what the overall experience could be. It's really unfortunate. It really is. But either way, like I said, I am still very much enjoying this series. It's 100% in my top 10. The exact placement of which I probably won't know until I finish the season. Um, but yeah, so we have the next step towards Charlie's goal. Because last episode we finally met Lucifer, and he is autistic as fuck. And like I said last time, I mean that in the most loving way, as someone who is autistic as fuck. Um, there's so much of myself and like other autistic friends I've had that I see in him. From the hyperfixations to the excessive awkwardness and the social the social issues. It just the way he acts, the way he thinks, the way he feels about things just comes across that way to me. And again, like I said last time, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it just comes across that way. So, Lucifer at first didn't want to help out because he was afraid. He was afraid that the angels in heaven would, be just as bad to Charlie as they were to him. He didn't want her to go through what he had. But she did manage to convince him, and he is now fully on board with Charlie's plans. He's even agreeing to get them a meeting with heaven, with someone who's above Adam, in order to fix things. Now, do I necessarily think this is going to end up working? Probably not. But it's going to be interesting to see. Because we're now going to actually, see heaven. We got a glimpse of it in the little storybook thing at the beginning of episode 1. But now we're actually going to get to go there. Because Charlie and it seems like Vaggie as well are both heading there in order to have this meeting. Which makes sense. They're the heads of the hotel. Like, Alistair is one step down from them. They are the heads of the hotel. So, it makes sense for them both to go. I'm just wondering how this meeting's going to happen. Now, as I've said before, there are some angel characters that are shown in the trailer, and whose silhouettes are even seen in the storybook portion. Their silhouettes stand out, so you know that they're actual characters and not just like random silhouettes. They actively stand out. So I'm very interested to see who these characters are and what they're like. Are they going to be as bad as Adam? Hell, are they going to be worse? Or will they actually be pretty nice? I still think that there's got to be one. There's got to be one angel who is going to be nice. Like, there just has to be. But I think that most of them are probably not going to be. There's probably going to be one who is, and then everyone else is probably not. And it's going to have that kind of big argument, debate, whatever you want to say, between the two sides that's unbalanced, to say the least. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see how this goes down, but also worried. I don't know what else to expect with this. But I'm a big fan of what they've been doing so far, so let's see what we got in store. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. Excuse me. And so with all of that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So it seems like, yeah, the problem obviously goes far beyond Adam. Sarah is very much an issue too. Luckily, we do have the fact that there's Emily in heaven, and she seems to be a lot more understanding and a lot more willing to listen. She and Charlie are kind of on the same wavelength and are very similar in terms of personality. But she's definitely standing by Charlie's side here. While Sarah seems to be the one who orchestrated the exterminations in the first place, having Adam do this from the beginning. But it also shows in this episode that not even she understands what it takes to get into heaven. That the qualifications are nebulous at best. She has no clue. She has no clue. And even when presented with evidence that Angel was following in these qualifications that they just randomly came up with on the spot, she still refuses to acknowledge any evidence. And in the end, just makes the decision to say, basically, fuck it. It's my word against yours. And that's really disappointing, but not surprising. I kind of figured that this entire meeting, quote unquote, it was more of a court thing. Case? No. My mind is blanking hard there. But it was more of a court thing. And in the end, it was entirely unbalanced. Like, Charlie was not really allowed to make her statement. The angels weren't listening to her from the start. And again, with this being kind of like a court situation, this is not what Charlie, in the first place, came there expecting. This is not what she was told it was going to be. It was supposed to be a meeting. So it's very clear and obvious, of course, that the angels had no intention of truly listening to her, most notably Sarah. Emily obviously had more of an intention of listening, but Sarah, who was the one who was, in charge here, the leader of the Seraphim and all, had never any intention of listening. Like, the thing is, she doesn't seem like she's, like, evil compared to, like, Adam or someone. But she comes across as, like, very just stuck in her ways. She believes what she believes. But she's not mean about it like Adam. She's not an asshole like Adam. She has a little more, kindness to her. But, I mean, she's still completely in the wrong, and she's still, like, the bad guy here. But she's not, like, mean about it. And you gotta give her some credit for that. This episode, we also got to meet Cherry Bomb. So, she returns from the pilot and everything. And she's pretty much the same as she was in that. Just loving debauchery, having fun, and supporting Angel Dust. Even if she doesn't necessarily agree with what he's doing, she's still showing support for him. Which we also saw in the Addict music video. So, That's very nice to see. It's very nice to see that that's still there. And yeah, I don't expect her to join the hotel until maybe next season. I do expect her to join, just not this season. Um, but there's definitely, if the addict video is anything to go by, there is definitely some backstory for her that we are going to eventually find out as well. She has some shit going on too, and we're going to definitely delve into that at some point. We see in this though that apparently Sir Pentious has a thing for Cherry now, which is like, all right, that's a ship, I guess. I don't necessarily hate it. It's just so kind of random. Like I know they had their like fight and everything in the pilot with Angel helping Cherry out and all, of course. But like I never would have shipped them together. So that's pretty interesting. That Angel is trying to, or not Angel, that Sir Pentious is trying to flirt with her and is just really bad at it. Um, I love how his like go to try and fix things is like, no, I'm gonna do this for everybody. I'm gonna buy everybody a shot. I'm gonna have sex with everybody. It's like, my dude, you need to find a better way of deflecting there. um, we also saw Angel have a confrontation with Valentino where he finally like stood up to him. And although it's going to get him punished, it's amazing to see. And you even saw how proud Husk was of him for standing up to Valentino. It was a great scene. We got to see Nifty being her little gremlin self, trying to clean everything, getting drunk as fuck because she's so small. Really, some just cutesy fun stuff. Um, and with the rest of the story, um, we get to see Loot unmasked. Let's bring that up real quick so I can be horny and get it out of my system. She is fucking hot. I I don't know what I expected. Um, I don't know if I expected. Honestly, I honestly genuinely can't say I did expect her to take the helmet, mask, whatever you want to call it, off. Um, I didn't even fully realize it was a mask or a helmet or something. I guess it kind of makes sense, but it just never really fully clicked with me. But seeing her like actual face and it's like, oh my gosh, she's just genuinely super hot. Like she sucks. Like don't get me wrong, she's terrible. But my god, um, my god, she is very nice looking. I'll put it at that. Um, that'll be for let's move on. That can be for another video. Um, so we see that Sarah actually like tells Adam to take care of things because Sarah clearly is not wanting any of this. So he and Lute end up confronting Vaggie, and we find out the truth that she is an angel. So let's talk about this because this has been a theory for a long time. Um, and it's based on the masks because the masks or helmets, again, whatever you want to say they are, for the angels, for the exterminators specifically, have an X over one eye. You see that with Lute's mask in this episode. Um, and Vaggie has an X over one eye. And that's literally it. That is literally the only thing people have had to use as evidence for for her being an angel. But that has been a theory because of that one thing. And it's just right. And the thing is, I'm gonna sound mean here, and I don't mean to sound like mean or terrible. I just want to say that, but everyone who correctly guessed this, like, you were lucky at best, because you had pretty much no evidence to go off of. You just happened to be right. You stumbled into a correct theory. Because there was literally one piece of evidence that you had to go off of, and it was really not strong evidence at all. It's just I was never necessarily against the theory that she's an angel, but I always felt like there was just not enough to provide for it, and because of that, I never bought into it. I don't mind the idea, because obviously the idea is there of, an angel and demon princess being together, and there's the connection with that, and there's a lot to say about the themes and messages of this series with that being the case. Um, but at the same time, uh, it's a little, like, easy, I guess you could say. It just feels like it just feels like an easy way to go. One thing to note, though, is that backstory was gruesome. Like, holy shit. Like, we saw her get her eye stabbed out, like removed from her head, and, like, stabbed and sliced and everything. It's like, Jesus fuck. You, like, see the golden blood pouring out of her. It's like, my God. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's pretty gruesome. Um, but yeah, and we see that Charlie found her and saved her and all, but I'm surprised that Charlie never knew, because Vaggie was still wearing the exterminator outfit and everything then. So how did Charlie not know? I don't know. But apparently Vaggie did keep it a secret. And also, apparently, Adam is the one who named her. And he actually named her Vaggie, um, after the vagina and everything, because of course he did. Um, but she changed the pronunciation of it to Vaggie. Presumably when she decided to stay in hell with Charlie. Um, it kind of reminds me of Blitz from Hell of a Boss because of that. Because he changed the pronunciation of his name when he was trying to change his life around and become not really someone different, but become a new version of himself. So Vaggie did very much the same thing. So that's really interesting. I definitely want to know more about this backstory and, like, how it all went down, I guess you could say. Um, but yeah, this was some wild information to just suddenly drop on us. The songs in this episode weren't as good as a lot of other ones, but that might just be on an initial watch. Like, I'm obviously going to watch this plenty more. I'm going to see plenty of other episodes, plenty of I'm going to see the episode plenty of more times. And so I'll be able to hear the songs more and more and get more accustomed to them. But I think these are some of the weaker songs of the series so far, personally. Obviously, it's all subjective, but just based on my personal preferences and tastes. They're not bad. Not a single song in this has been bad, but just the weakest comparatively. Um, at the very least, they're not super memorable to me. Um, but yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this all goes down, because we now know there's only a month left in terms of time, the timeline, and we have 2 episodes left. I don't know if this is going to be a 2-part finale. I still have not actually fully decided if I'm going to do them together. I was kind of already saying I wasn't going to, probably. We'll see. We'll see when it comes to when I start recording for this next week. If I end up doing both together, then I end up doing both together. If not, then I don't. But yeah, this was very interesting, to say the least. A lot of big reveals, a lot of big moments, and unfortunately, it seems like heaven is not as well put together as you would think. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see how these final 2 episodes go. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of episode 6? Let me know your thoughts on the angels, on the Vaggie reveal, on everything down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.